Welcome in to the Paul Kuharsky podcast. Last one from a press box for a while. Broadcasting from on top of a refrigerator, which I don't think is going to do wonders for our sound. I am at Everbank Field. Glorious place. Glorious place. 41-7 Jaguars over the Titans. Not a good ending to the season. Cam Ward obviously hurts his shoulder. Initially, they thought it wasn't that bad. Ultimately, the assessment before they get further tests in Nashville, grade 3 AC sprain of his right shoulder, which is not a good diagnosis. If it's non-surgical, there's a lot of rest and rehab involved, about 3 months. These things all have kind of an individual timetable and an individual process. So you do not know, we do not know how it will go. Information will come out likely in drips and drabs. They'll make some kind of statement on it tomorrow. I don't know if we will hear from him. I doubt it. But a lousy ending. I do not have any beef for people who say he shouldn't have played this week. I think that's ridiculous. You don't bubble wrap your people. He's been durable all season. Injuries happen. It's an absolute fluke. I don't have a problem with them sending him on a run. It was a successful play, scored a touchdown. It's a fluke. There are risks and injuries in the NFL. Look, you get hurt in the 18th game. He has 3 months to recover. He has more than that to recover. It's less than ideal that he, during those 3 months won't be throwing, but he can work on footwork, which is the most important thing for him to be working on during that time. And after a period of rest, when a new coach is in place, a new coordinator, a new quarterback coach, they will be giving instructions to his personal coach, and he will be able to do a good share of that work, I imagine. So, no, it's not ideal. It's not the death blow some people are making it out to be either. And I don't think it was a dirty hit. I think people are caught up in the emotions of things right now. Caribbean Daniel saying players don't do much in the next 3 months regardless. Well, this is when Cam Ward was going to do some stuff to catch up with the mechanics. So it's unfortunate he doesn't have that time, which would have been ideal. What about other teams not starting or playing their quarterback ones this much? I don't care about other teams. I care about this team and this quarterback. And so, if Josh Allen isn't playing, well, how does that have a bearing on the fucking Titans? Josh Allen is going to the playoffs. And, this young quarterback needed experience. Did Tyler Shuck play today? Who are the comps? Look at the comp quarterbacks. Don't look at all of the quarterbacks. People are saying it's a death blow. This is much more reasonable. Cam will be fine if you think this will hinder his offseason. I mean, really, well, it does hinder his offseason a little bit. It's less than ideal. But, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I think, Tim, the Titans fan, you're putting it in worst case scenario words. He worries that season 1 is his rookie year. Now season 2 is his comeback from injury, and we have to wait until season 3 to get a true evaluation. Well, everything I've read says about 3 months. So 1 month to February, 1 month to March, 1 month to April. OTAs start in April. So he will have missed his time away stuff. And again, he can work on mechanical stuff that doesn't involve throwing. His mechanics are largely attached to his feet. Is he going to miss some time? Yes. Is it going to set him back if he's on a regular timetable in a massive way? No. If he needs surgery, is that more substantial and significant? Absolutely. Is it ideal? No. Does it wreck his second season? I think we're jumping to conclusions if we're saying that at this time. They might want to put more muscle on him. I mean, that's definitely a plan. He is not a muscled guy. I don't you don't want him over muscled, but he kind of has some baby fat on him, and he does look unathletic with his shirt off. I wouldn't call it a miracle that he made it this far without injury. You ever seen Peyton Manning with his shirt off, or Tom Brady? I mean, Tom Brady got himself super flexible and mobile, and there are all different kind of ways to do it. But those guys early in their career, particularly estimate on draft pick. Why do I have to estimate? Let's look at some scores. I mean, what's Arizona doing? What the Jets are getting killed, so it would seem like they're not gonna jump the Jets. The Giants did them a nice favor. Oh my God, what are the Giants doing? Winning? They're killing themselves. You can imagine if you guys were Giants fans. Jets are losing 29-0. So they're not jumping the Jets. Arizona is down 2 to the Rams with 42 seconds left in the third. So have to wait and see some of those things. There. Shuck played. Dart played. Riley Leonard played. Well, I mean, Riley Leonard isn't coming off a season. Riley Leonard's getting his first experience after they didn't have any faith in him when they went out and signed Phillip Rivers. I mean, this is very nitpicky, Benjamin. You don't think Cam needed experience running an RPO. He needed experience throwing. He hadn't run enough RPOs. This thing where you're going to carve out a game plan and you're going to say, we're going to do stuff, but we're not going to do everything because we're worried about him getting hurt. But if you're worried, if you would have run that 3 or 4 weeks ago and you're not going to run it today, it's just nonsense. The way you guys carve out stuff, it's ridiculous. Robert Stewart says the Jags took a risk playing Lawrence as long as they did today for a silly record of yards. Just play. I believe in playing. It's a league. All of this fear of injuries, like sometimes you get guys. I think the Titans will start interviewing. Tomorrow they'll put in paperwork. This is Caden asking as soon as we get news on interviews. I mean, I wouldn't be waiting with bated breath. There aren't going to be a bunch of surprises in this. We know most of the names, but I don't think we'll get news of interviews until after interviews are complete. And those will be Zoom interviews for the next 2 weeks. And I would imagine they'll put out one sentence releases to say the Titans today interviewed so-and-so via Zoom. And I think the earliest that'll be is Tuesday. What are the odds Cam misses week 1? I would say based on what I know right now, 0. Even if he had surgery, it would be 9 months. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. I mean, put him at camp. The Rook says Titans will be 3rd or 4th depending on this Arizona game. Buston says sign a veteran like this is an easy thing. I mean, they need a better quarterback than Brandon Allen. Now, Will Levis, I think, is a step better than Brandon Allen. I would like a better quarterback than Will Levis, but the list is terrible. People just make it like go out and get somebody. Daniel Jones, who's surely going to re-sign with the Colts. Aaron Rodgers, who's done. Russell Wilson, who's done. Marcus Mariota, who today everybody was like, oh, yeah, go back to Marcus Mariota. Make up for what you did wrong. You didn't do anything wrong to Marcus Mariota, and he's not coming back here, and you shouldn't want him back here. Tyrod Taylor, Zach Wilson. I'm interested in Zach Wilson, quite frankly. Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy Garoppolo. I'd be interested in him. Mitch Trubisky, Case Keenum, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, Josh Allen, Brandon Allen, Malik Willis is going to do better than here, and you wouldn't have him back. Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater. Let me tell you about that list. It's all shit. I mean, there's a couple guys. Tyrod Taylor, I would take. Zach Wilson, I would take. Jimmy Garoppolo, I would take. That's about it, right? Who do you want? Don't say you want um, a good veteran backup quarterback without putting a name on it. Could it have been prevented? Yeah. I mean, if you don't want your football players to play football, all injuries are preventable. It's just ridiculous to me to say, don't have your football players play football. And then if you have them play football, don't allow them to do these certain plays. It's ridiculous. He's not missing week 1 unless something goes extraordinarily wrong. Yes, I mean, I just said, I think maybe they'll talk to somebody by Zoom as early as Tuesday. I think more likely probably Wednesday. But they're all Zoom interviews until the 19th. I don't remember if Levis hurt his throwing shoulder or his non-throwing shoulder. But Cam has hurt his throwing shoulder. Oh, my God. Andrew says, I was a Tampa Bay fan before the Titans came to town. Any chance they let go of Bowles? Didn't like the hire when it was made. He's an awful head coach. Seems like a more attractive job than the Titans. Oh, I thought you were suggesting he come here. Yeah, Todd Bowles. I mean, they've won the division a bunch. Who won this? Who won the Saints? Who won that division? I think Todd Bowles is in over his head. I don't like that. The job he's done there at all. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think Jason Light is a good general manager. But how does this not have who won the game? Did Atlanta win or did New Orleans win? My standings are not up to date. Let me see here. Scores. Sorry. Atlanta won, so Carolina wins the division. That's a bad year for Tampa Bay. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I think I picked them to win. Oh, so there's an exception. Manning was savvy about not taking sacks, so it was okay that he wasn't muscular. I mean, does the rule apply or does the rule not apply? Yeah, all quarterbacks need to be savvy about not taking sacks, by the way. I don't think the Titans are going to release Levis. They don't owe Levis any favors. Levis fucked them over before the season began with the timing of his surgery. They should not do Levis any favors whatsoever. They should trade him. But the trade market's not going to be good for him until when the trade market gets better, and they should wait till they could get what they could get. He looked good on the first drive. How would I stack LaFleur, Stefanski, and Harbaugh if all three were available? Harbaugh 1, LaFleur 2, Stefanski 3, but I love all three of them. But I don't think Harbaugh is coming free, and I don't think LaFleur is coming free. Also, I mean, if people want to bitch about the play call, they're going after McCoy. I mean, the people in this room, the people who are coming to talk to me about the Titans have to know who calls the plays for this team, and that it's not Mike McCoy. I didn't. Guitar, this would be a much better message to me if you told me what Chig's tweet said instead of acting like I've read it and memorized it. Why don't you give me that again? I don't think he knows what's going on. I was bullshitting with him in the locker room, saying that we know they do stupid things, but worst case scenario, surgery in about 9 months for Cam Ward. Simmons kind of shrugged off the penalty, wanted to say it was bullshit, stopped himself. Can't stop himself from getting those kind of penalties. It's part of what you accept when Jeff is your number one guy. Some coaches could still get fired on Tuesday. So I don't think they'll all be done tomorrow. I don't think Harbaugh or Tomlin are coming free. If Tomlin comes free, I think it'll be late in the week. We have to see what happens tonight, right? If Tomlin comes free, I think it'll be, more his doing than the team's. And I'll tell you somebody that I do not think is absolutely coming free is Calvin Ridley. I do not think the Titans have made up their mind about Calvin Ridley. I think Robert's asking me which firing could change the Titans head coaching thinking. I don't think it'll change their thinking. I think they're factoring these guys in. I mean, LaFleur with Jeff definitely change their thing. I think Kevin Stefanski is definitely somebody that's on their list that they would look at seriously if he becomes available. Could somebody tell me what the Chig tweet says? Could somebody cut and paste the Chig tweet? I think somebody's asking me about Snead. I think Snead will absolutely be gone. That Cam didn't have ice on tells us nothing. Vader, I've been saying a long time, Robert Saleh is my top choice. Breakthrough Bits, thanks for the kind words. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming. I'm sponsored by Edley's Barbecue, the best place to eat in and around Nashville. Go download their app, order online, earn rewards, participate in giveaways, view specials, and more. You can get it on Apple. You can get it on Google. Forget about these expensive fees that you get on DoorDash or all of that. They charge you a pittance by comparison, which is just terrific. Hot food to your house fast and cheap. You put in your zip code, they tell you if you're in range, and odds are you're in range because they're everywhere. East Nashville, 12 South, Sylvan Park, Donaldson, Nolensville, Franklin at Berry Farms, Franklin in the factory. I broadcast from 12 South regularly. I broadcast from Berry Farms regularly. It's my favorite food in Nashville. I recommend the burnt ends. I recommend the avocado salads. It is $5.46 where you are right now. You can go to Edley's for dinner, and you can go to Edley's for or get out the app and order. Edley's Barbecue, a great supporter of mine, and I hope you'll check them out. Tim says he feels better now after hearing a voice of reason. His battered Titans fan syndrome always leads him to think the worst. Off the list I provided, Sergeant Bubbles said, I'd consider Tyrod Taylor as backup last year. I don't know what let's make sense in what we type. Mariota's a career backup, yes, but not here. You don't bring back a guy that you've been through with what you've been through. Mariota's not coming back. Malik Willis isn't coming back. 3 or 4 in the draft order, depending on what happens with Arizona. Here we go. Jim says, hey, Paul, great job on what you do. Thank you. I can't believe they couldn't get the ball enough to Pollard to get his bonus, 7 yards short. Wasn't it a little bit more than that? I thought it was like 18. Look, when you lose as badly as they did, I'm surprised that Pollard got that close. It's crazy. And how about how about our boy Adam Schefter tweeting out that Van Jefferson needed one catch to hit his bonus, unaware that Van Jefferson's on IR. Pump up National, guys. Yeah, I mean, this is true. No matter who your backup is, if your starter gets hurt, your chances of winning in a quarterback-driven league diminish greatly. I agree. Vader, you could roll back to the beginning of this when we're watching. I threw up the list and I told you who I liked best of the backup possibilities. This thing about not calling a run, I mean, you go into the game and say, "Oh, we have a fragile baby at quarterback, and we can't call a run at him. He's been the most durable quarterback in the league this season. And you want to score a touchdown to open the game there, and you did. It's a successful play. It's fucking football." Do I think Amy Adams has any self-awareness as to the mess she's created, and will that impact her involvement in the head coaching search? Look, she's involved in the head coaching search. I don't know where the reports came from that she's backing off. She's going to be in all the face-to-face meetings. She'll watch a couple of the Zoom interviews that she won't be involved in when they say, "Hey, here are the guys we're bringing in person. You might want to watch this or this or this." They made this revision in their structure. She said to a more straightforward thing. Well, if you're making a switch to a straightforward thing now, what does that say about what you had before? That it wasn't straightforward, which is all we told them. This is confusing and it's convoluted and it's not straightforward. And they said, no, it makes perfect sense. This is the way the league's going. We're reinventing the wheel here. There's nothing complicated here. Why are you guys all so confused? Then 2 years later, when they change it, they say exactly what we said. It's more straightforward and it's less convoluted. And then I go to somebody today and I say, well, it's less convoluted. It's more straightforward. So what does that say about what you've been jamming down our throats the last 2 years about it being, oh, it's simple. Why are you guys so confused? It's not convoluted at all. Say, oh, it was based on, the people and the circumstances we had. So basically they're saying, look, we needed to hold Rand Carthon's hand is basically the input, the reaction that I'm getting. Yeah. You really had to understand the people involved. They say, all right, look, you fucked up. You hired Rand Carthon. The second year of Rand Carthon, you needed to structure it in a way that you were holding Rand Carthon's hand. Then you hired somebody normal in Mike Borgonzi. Why not return it to the normal thing? You needed a check on Mike Borgonzi for the first year to make sure he was okay. And now you're willing to go straightforward and not all hazy. It's fucking crazy, these people. Yes, Will Levis, as Big Red points out, purposefully got surgery at the worst time to screw the Titans over. He's going to be gone. But they're not going to let him be gone on his terms. There is no way Mike McCoy gets this job, Chris. Why would you think that they would give him this job? Marty, what are you talking about? Cam is going to be fine, but is his new head coach going to want him to be the starting quarterback? Who else is he going to want to be the starting quarterback? They're not hiring somebody that doesn't want Cam Ward to be the starting quarterback. I'm confused by some of the questions here. Apparently, this is I presume this is the Cam Ward, the Chig Okonkwo tweet. Thank you, Tennessee, for allowing me to live out my childhood dreams. Playing in the NFL representing the Titans for the past 4 years has been an unbelievable privilege that I will never take for granted. Thank you, Lord, for keeping me safe and allowing me to play every game these past 4 years. Psalm 91, love you, Nashville. That doesn't mean he's not back. Casey, come on. Will Cam's injury affect coaching interest? So the guy's probably out for 3 months. A coach is going to sign for 5 years. And you think because he's not going to be able to throw probably for 3 months that a coach is going to be reluctant to come here? Come on. Again, with this meaningful game, Austin says meaningful game. The guy has 17 games in his rookie year at which to learn better how to play quarterback in the NFL. That's not meaningless. I refuse to concede that that's meaningless. By your standard, every game that doesn't have playoff implications is meaningless. Titans were eliminated probably in the middle of October from any chance of making the playoffs, so he shouldn't have played. Should have been wrapped in bubble wrap. That's nonsensical. Do I think it was always Amy's plan to restructure this way? No, I believe what they said. I believe that Brinker and Borgonzi said, hey, let's return this to normal operational thing, so it's not complicated for the coach, and this is how it should be. Roland Lundy really likes these talks. Roland, you need to be a member of the website. Come on and join in. I'm going to put the subscription details in the comments over here. You could go straight over there and you can sign in for sign up for, God darn it. Sign up for a monthly, sign up for a yearly. I'd love to have you. I'll send you a text when it's time for any of these broadcasts. It'd be great. Everybody be happy. Everybody join. It's a good New Year's resolution. Joe Burrow, Bengals not able to beat the Browns is also infuriating. Like, they don't give a fuck about your draft position. I mean, I know you don't think that. Josh says, I've never smiled. Look at me. Colts owner speaking tomorrow. Look, I could see keeping their head coach. He's a good head coach. By the way, if he got fired, I would think about him for the Titans head coaching job. He can scheme up some offense. Now, Chris Ballard has been there too long. And I think, when people have been there as long as they've been there together, the head coach has not been there as long as Ballard. Ballard, I think, is 9 years. But you've got to get people on the same chance. Denard Wilson saying he deserves a chance after that. Absolutely had a hard time this year with trades and injuries, but come on. Denard Wilson is a good coach. Any rooting interest in the college football playoffs? I'd like to see Indiana. Anybody but Miami. Somebody different. I like different. This isn't an interim coaching staff. This was a permanent coaching staff. This is Callahan's coaching staff. Only interim piece of it is that Mike McCoy is the head coach. That's the only interim piece of it. If they haven't made up their mind about Ridley, and after the defensive line improvement this year, is cornerback our biggest offseason need now? Absolutely not. The defensive line improvement, we're talking about outside linebackers, edge rushers. Now, even if you had Draymond Jones, who you traded, and Jihad Ward, you need a number one guy, edge rusher. Scary guy that dictates matchups, who can beat a double team and bend around the edge. Edge and wide receiver are the top needs on this team. Cornerbacks, you can get a little bit later and figure out. You also ease your need at cornerback if you get friggin' pass rushers who don't let the quarterback hold on to the ball so long. If hired, any idea who Saleh may bring in as offensive coordinator? Well, McDaniels looks to be holding his job. Mike LaFleur was his offensive coordinator for part of his time in New York, and he's with the Rams as a non-play calling offensive coordinator. He would be one of the more likely ones. There was one other name that I'm forgetting. Look at this. Pitbull going to subscribe to PK tonight. Great independent insights by Paul and crew. Timothy Flynn. You don't bring back a guy you've been through. Nick Foles. So he brings up one example, and that's the rule. Yeah, show me the league circling through guys that they've brought. Look, Marcus Mariota is great if you want a guy who you have to pass everything through his mother and his wife for approval, and who's not a strong-willed guy. If you want a guy who's not strong-willed to be one of the tone setters on your football team, that's terrific. I don't want that for the Titans. Why would Chig want to come back? He can find a job with one of other 31 teams. You think every team out of 31 teams wants a very small tight end who, isn't a great blocker? I don't think everybody wants that. I mean, you guys fall in love with your Titans. I could tell you that. Yeah, the restructuring, getting a question from Pitbull about what the restructuring is. It basically gave the personnel final say to Borgonzi where it belongs, took it away from Brinker. So they're saying now power over the 53. That's not the way they couched it when Brinker had it. When Brinker had it, they said final say. But so the final personnel power lies with Mike Borgonzi. D. Owens thanking me for my work this year. I appreciate it. Felt like a Henry-esque send-off, except Henry took the microphone at the stadium and made a speech. So you're equating a tweet off of a road game by not a bit player, but a much lesser a role player, to a speech by a guy who was on his way well along his path to a Hall of Fame career. We're making things equal that are not equal. Sammy wants him to go after Likely or Pitts. Chig teased with potential every year. It was never consistent. I would certainly take Pitts or Likely over Chig. Chig's a good dude. Like him a lot. Think they could certainly use him back, but if they were to upgrade to one of those guys, I would be fine with that. Thank you all for tweeting that, texting me that here after I asked for it. What else do we have? How would anybody have any feeling, no offense, Timothy, about what Stefanski's feelings about Cam were going into the draft? How would he have made that public? What sense would he have made what sense would that have made for him to have made that public? I think Sam asked, have they not made up their mind on Ridley because he's not healthy and has that early bonus? Well, the early bonus will force them to make up their mind by the 5th day of the new league year. I don't know where his health factors into that. I mean, he'll be healthy by the beginning of the season. I think they haven't decided, I just think they haven't decided. Yeah, I would agree. Like somebody, Big Red, saying Jeff wearing the bright red all the time makes it very easy to get those calls. He certainly calls attention to himself. He likes to be seen. Jason McCourty, I think it was, or Logan Ryan maybe, wore gloves that were the color of the other team's jersey so that his hands would bleed into the jersey and it would be less easy to see him perhaps gripping or tugging on an offensive player, which was very smart. This is a very Titan problem, Weston, and I appreciate you bringing it up. And you score points for your presence in here. Is it just me, or does the whole woe is me from the Titans fan acting like this stuff only happens to us? I think a lot of Titans fans think that things only happen to us. I also think like overvaluing a guy like Chig is a very Titans thing because the Titans have held their fans captive, and they only see guys like Chig, and so they start to think like Chig is super valuable piece. But if they saw a guy like Pitts or Likely used well in a Titans offense, they would think, whoa, this is way better than Chig. Callahan getting any looks. That's certainly not for head coach. He could, wind up on somebody's staff. I would think he'd take a year off. Am I going to keep wearing the nice jackets during the offseason? No, I really have very little occasion to wear jackets outside of game days and church. Vader says, hopefully the new coach cleans house on all assistant coaches except Fossil. What'll happen is odds are Fossil will be here. I think Luke Stocker will probably be here. And then inevitably there are 4 or 5 lower ranking assistants that are kept that are hard spots to fill out that Titans brass will say, hey, we like these guys and we think they're up and comers. If you don't have people for these jobs, hang on to them. Let's see how they grow. Also a question about the strength and conditioning staff. Brinker had a hand in bringing those people in. I think they're pretty good. I wrote about John Shaw, the speed coach. I think he's an interesting guy. I think having that department is pretty cool. So I would do that. Reggie McKenzie is not a consultant. He is, I think by title, an assistant GM. Reggie McKenzie, Dave Ziegler, and I'm going to mispronounce his name because I don't have it down yet. He came from Cleveland. Saganay, maybe, are all guys who've been executives around the league, bring different perspective, and they're sounding board guys for Brinker and Borgonzi, and they've got kind of together a 5-pack who are the brain trust of the Titans front office, and particularly in terms of personnel. Yeah, we got to stop calling edge defensive end. They're different positions. So the Rook asks, what are my thoughts on round 1, wide receiver or defensive end? I know free agency plays a lot into it. I wouldn't call it defensive end. Sebastian Joseph Day plays defensive end, which is the outside position in the 3-man front. We're talking about edges who are outside linebackers who play really on a 5-man line most of the time. And those are guys like Harold Landry was, like Arden Key is. And I think those are the 2 positions they have to address above all else, edge and wide receiver. Stefanski is my choice, Chris Schaefer says, for Titans' next head coach if the Browns let him go, above Nagy, McCarthy, etc. I'm not super interested in Nagy. I think Nagy could be offensive coordinator for one of these younger coaches. I'm not real excited about McCarthy. I think he gets a certain floor for you, but I do think he's a little bit of a dinosaur. I like Stefanski too. I think he's a tough sell. He's going to be a tough sell. A lot of fans are going to say, well, this guy, the Titans won 3 games all year and they won one of them against Stefanski. But, I mean, this guy was saddled with a Moneyball baseball guy running his front office. He's saddled with, Deshaun's guaranteed contract. Just a super – if you think the Titans are dysfunctional, you should look at the Browns. And he won Coach of the Year twice. And he can get some things going on offense. It's kind of boring. Not going to be great for me in terms of being quotable and all of that. But I think he could be good. Look, I hate to be put in position. I say this at least once a podcast. I hate to be in position to defend people I don't want to defend. But this idea that the Titans can never win with Amy Adams Strunk, they went to an AFC championship game 4 years ago, they were the number one seed in the AFC. So the idea that they can never excel with Amy Adams Strunk as the owner is bullshit. They have done it. So it's just not true. Is she ideal? No. You look around the league, there are a lot of weird, eccentric owners. Not everybody's going to be Biscotti from the Ravens, who you want to be your owner, but you can't choose ownership. Gruden is not going to be the head coach, and Reggie McKenzie is not going to have that much of a say in who the head coach is. Dan Campbell's not getting the axe after one bad year. Kevin Byard. Sean asks, with the year he's had, do I think he's had any interest in a reunion as a ball hawk safety? Titans aren't looking to get older. And the Titans were done with him. Why would he say, hey, I want to go back to Tennessee? If I'm Kevin Byard, you know where I want to be? Chicago. Trade a third to Arizona for Marvin Harrison Jr. Why would Arizona want to do that? Why would Arizona want to take their number one pick from 2 years ago and turn them into a third round pick? Likely does get hurt a lot. It's a fair comment from a North Star. Likely's made of glass. I don't know why people keep bringing him up. Very intriguing player when he's on the field. Does have some injury history for sure. Yeah, this is a very, very popular question I get all the time. How much has Borgonzi turned over the scouting department from Rand? You turn over the scouting department after the draft, so after April. And there was not a lot of change after April. But also this scouting department, I think you guys overblow in terms of power. The Titans don't empower the scouting department. The scouting department goes out and collects notes and brings back and writes the basic report. And these guys that I'm talking about, this 5-pack of Borgonzi and Brinker and McKenzie and Ziegler and the guy from Cleveland whose name I need to learn, they're the guys who are really sizing up the players and doing the grades. So an initial presentation is coming from these scouts who are not empowered. It's not like the old days where C.O. Bricado was a road scout and an older guy who had all of these connections on campuses around his thing. And I think these younger guys do not have that kind of power. I don't want to call them yes men, but I don't get the sense that they are it's not like the old days. And I don't think changing those guys is of much influence as you guys tend to think. It's not a broken issue here. It's a sprain issue, Christopher. He's got a grade 3 AC sprain is the initial assessment. I've confirmed the report. MB wants Stefanski over Saleh. I think that'd be a great choice to have to make. Josh, what did I say on Midday 180? I'm curious about that. Who do I think returns from our D-line? I think it would be smart to have Sebastian Joseph Day back. Jeffrey Simmons is definitely back. I think some of those lesser guys like Lynch, I think is a good role player. You'd like to upgrade there. Sweat's back. I mean, that's all you need. What is the super chat function? I need to set that up. Tell me about that. Let's go down to the newest comments. We're at 45 minutes and we're going strong. I have a 9:15 flight. I am in great, great shape. Yeah, Dan Lanning is not coming here, and I think he's an excellent coach. I think it'd be hard to bring in a college guy who doesn't have any specific experience at the NFL level. Super chat. I'll set that up if I can. Yeah. Further going back to that Marvin Harrison Jr., why would Arizona take a third-round pick for him? Logan Ryan said it about the gloves. Josh is pointing out on the Midday 180, on his show on the Midday 180, which I screwed up. Does Alec Pierce command wide receiver money with the limited amount of value in the upcoming free agency class? I don't know what he commands. I would pay him, overpay him. I think you've got the most money. Guys are going to get overpaid in free agency, and you've got to overpay a couple of them. And he would be a candidate for me that I would overpay. That tag is a huge number, so we'll see. You could thank the Titans fans and not be saying goodbye. I mean, I've heard a number of players thank Titans fans this year for enduring what they're going through and the like. Yeah, here we go. The CRA reading things in there. I wonder if Brinker wanted this change to hide. He saw Borgonzi's obsessed with Nagy no matter what, so Brinker figured give the power up so he'll get zero blame on the Nagy hire. His part, I mean, it's Brinker's hire, it's Borgonzi's hire, but Brinker's in it. You know, and I think it was going to be viewed as Borgonzi's hire whether or not they made this move. But it's just there's a conspiracy theory behind everything. And I think to conclude that Borgonzi's in love with Nagy before there's any evidence that he's hiring Nagy, like, why do we have to rush to that conclusion? Why do we have to rush to it? Does culture come more from the head coach or the owner? Organizational culture can come from the owner. Locker room culture comes from the coach. Was Springsteen's last tour a big farewell money grab? Well, it wasn't a big farewell anything because he said he's going to play until he dies. It was a bit of a money grab because he went with the dynamic pricing, which sucked. I don't know if I'd say most owners are more like Mike Brown and less like Biscotti. I mean, Biscotti's the best and Brown's the worst. Most owners are somewhere more towards the 16th owner. Jeff Hafley's probably going to the Giants unless Mike Tomlin's going to the Giants. Jeff Hafley's very good candidate. He's from New Jersey. Kingsbury, really, really bad head coach. Really, really good coordinator. Yeah, I agree with you, Benjamin, that DK breaking the rookie record for all-purpose yards in a season was really nice. Special teams not being disgusted was nice. And he broke Tim Brown's record, so that's great. But how many of the great single-season returning seasons were by rookies? I mean, I think it's a very narrow record to get excited about. Flores has a lawsuit against the NFL, and he had trouble relating to players, and he fought with his quarterback. I think he's a very good defensive coach. I don't think there's any chance he gets hired by the Tennessee Titans, who are so law-abiding for the NFL. They never do anything against the NFL. I think the Titans will be in play for Trey Hendrickson this offseason. If he's free agent, I could see it, but the age thing, I don't know that they're gonna love age. I mean, Richard asked, does Borgonzi have control over hiring the coaching staff, or will he give it to the newly hired coach? A coach isn't going to come in and with an agreement that the general manager is hiring his staff. No coach is coming in for that. Now, will he have some input to make some suggestions and stuff? I mean, Mike Vrabel came in, and you remember he didn't get his first or maybe second choice at offensive coordinator. And John Robinson said, hey, I interviewed Matt LaFleur for your job. I like him a lot. Why don't you talk to him about offensive coordinator? And ended up going that direction. That's why I think there are a couple of scenarios where if they hire a young defensive coordinator, you could see Matt Nagy, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, or Mike Kafka wind up being the offensive coordinator here. Sammy's favorite free agents: Pierce, Pitts, Brees, Owe, Woolen, and Alontae Taylor. If it was Madden, he'd grab them all. Would love 3 to 4 of them. Alontae Taylor did some good things in that game. He also got his ass kicked by Mason Kinsey. Mason Kinsey. Listen, on this Brinker clearing himself of blame, never minding the idea that he's doing it to clear himself of blame for Nagy. Brinker, by the nature of his job, is a person removed from blame on virtually everything. And he's got a nice job with regard to that. He is not to blame for much. It's nice. It's how you stay employed for a long time. MB thinks Garrett Wilson is probably unhappy with the Jets, too. Doesn't mean they'll take a third for him either. Both those guys want a real quarterback to play with, and I can't blame them. Let me tell you this about receivers wanting real quarterbacks. The best receivers in the world, this comes from Hall of Fame room conversations. Best receivers in the world, and I bet you Garrett Wilson thinks he's one, and I bet you Drake London thinks he's one, and maybe they haven't come to this realization yet. They produce no matter who their quarterback is. Who did Larry Fitzgerald play with? Who did Steve Smith play with? I mean, for every Reggie Wayne, who did Torrey Holt play with after Kurt Warner? Todd Bolger? It's going to be a great guy for him. Wide receivers who are really good play really good football. And they make some average quarterbacks look great. Roland Lundy. I blocked him on Twitter. I don't know your name, Roland Lundy, so I think you got a fake name. You can sign up for membership to paulkuharsky.com whether I blocked you on Twitter or not. But if I blocked you on Twitter, it was for a good reason, because I'm not obligated to be annoyed. You can sign up for the site, and we can negotiate about unblocking on Twitter. Or you can stay blocked on Twitter. How many starting level players do I see them trying to get in free agent? I would think 3 or 4. Why is Schwartz not getting a lot of discussion for the head coaching job? Because he's old. He's in his 60s. And nobody's really looking for coaches who are in their 60s. I will say this. If Stefanski gets fired, whether Stefanski becomes the head coach in Nashville or not, Jim Schwartz is candidate for defensive coordinator for an offensive coach's head staff, or for Stefanski's staff. And I know Jim Schwartz, and I know Jim Schwartz loves him some Nashville. So if he could land in Nashville, If not as the head coach, as a coordinator, he would love to be in Nashville. If somebody could double check me on that Schwartz age, I'm pretty sure he's crossed 60. Bang. Got blocked, and he wants more Paul. That's how you know it's worth subscribing. Bang. All right, we're rounding the corner here. Hit me up with a couple good ones. Brinker isn't our issue, even if he backstabbed Rand. You didn't need to backstab Rand to vault Rand. I mean, have we not seen that Rand was pretty incompetent and terrible? Is the evidence not resounding that Rand was horrible? Who isn't left to blame for much is Burke, and that's really who Amy needs to see that needs to go. He's terrible. Well, Burke is not involved in much football. Now, you know, there are people who would tell you that Burke didn't have a hand in Rand being hired. And there are people that will tell you that Burke didn't have a hand in Callahan. I offer absolution for anybody that was involved in hiring Callahan. I don't think Callahan was a bad hire. He turned out to be a really bad coach. But when they hired him, he looked like a good hire. They got unlucky on that one. Rand Carthon, people around the league knew that Rand Carthon was not a good hire. That was dumb. That was the Titans being really dumb. And anybody that was involved on any level in that didn't sniff out that this guy's a phony and this is a bad hire really should get, you know, an X next to their name. And how many X's you are allowed to get before your name comes up for reconsideration, I don't know. But to me, Burke Nihill is somewhat accountable for Rand Carthon. The league probably did recommend Carthon, but you don't have to take the league's recommendation. Burke didn't like Vrabel at the end. Burke let I just lost the comment, but Burke is one of the guys who let things get out of control. Burke and Amy let things get out of control. 2 years before things were out of control with Vrabel, they should have managed the situation with Vrabel. Do I think Tush Push gets banned? Probably. Do I think it's bullshit? Yes. Could be wrong, but you remember an article alleging keyword that they only brought in Rand for approval to get the stadium built. That's a push. You think the NFL was going to stop the Tennessee Titans from getting a stadium built in Nashville, Tennessee, a crown jewel city for the league or for anybody, and they weren't going to back the Titans getting a stadium built if the Titans didn't hire Rand Carthon? That's a big stretch. Big stretch. All right, going to take a couple more and we're out of here. I mean, this is completely unfair to mention them together. Robinson and Carthon combined are worst back-to-back GMs in history. Robinson drafted Kevin Byard and Derrick Henry. And who I met, Jack Conklin. 3 all-pros. Rand Carthon never sniffed anybody like that. The first 3 years of John Robinson were spectacular. He traded nothing and got Ryan Tannehill, the second best quarterback in the history of the Titans in Nashville. John Robinson, Rand Carthon can't tie his shoes in terms of evaluating personnel. Now he went to shit in his second half of his term. Chris with the last word. He said it before and he'll say it again. Amy Adams-Strunk's ego, losing us Mike Vrabel, has set this franchise back years. I agree. I mean, look, Vrabel's got a big ego. You got to find a way to handle um, Mike Vrabel's ego, and you got to start early. Burke, CRA says, has blame in losing Vrabel. Burke has blame in hiring Rand. Therefore, he should be gone. He looks like a fool now, even if you absolve him from Cali. They also shouldn't have given Cali a second year. Look, I can't argue with much of what you're saying, though. I think you're giving Burke too much power in all of those things. Do I think Cam is the future? I do. He's certainly the future. Is Queen of the Supermarket forgivable? For how? I think you've asked me this question before. I mean, for Springsteen's overall output to have, 5 duds the caliber of Queen of the Supermarket is forgivable. When are roster bonuses due? They're different. They're contractually written. So like Ridley's is due the 5th day of the new league calendar year, but they're not all the same. So for Ridley, that's the deadline for them to decide what they want to do with those. And this is an important note. Burke is the business side. What he does on the business side trumps everything. And he got that stadium built. Getting that stadium built trumps everything. I think Burke Nihill is pretty damn safe. Eat at Edley's Barbecue. Download their app. Order in. If you can't make it to the restaurant, best barbecue around. You're going to love it. If you haven't tried it, if you have tried it, you know that you love it and you want more of it. Subscribe to paulkuharsky.com. Stuff from me, from Blake Bedingfield, from Drew Beatty, from Mike Herndon, and from Braden Gall. I'll be on with Braden Gall tomorrow on a football show. Mike McCoy is going to talk tomorrow after locker clean out, and Mike Borgonzi is going to talk on Tuesday before the Titans shut things down. And then I will podcast sometime shortly after all of that. I appreciate all of you. Very nice comments in here tonight. Don't block the box, and be sure, please, to lock your locks. Good night from Jacksonville. I am going to go catch a flight and get my ass back to the Music City.